Could you give an example of the typical or some of the more abstract clients that you're now giving financial advice to?
Yeah, for sure. I think, I mean, sort of in terms of, I think underserved bits of the market. I mean, there's a few, and I think they sort of do the rounds. I think like, people who own businesses tend to not get involved with financial advisors until potentially quite late in the process. And we've got some, some good clients who are owner managers and they're good referrers. And we do great work for them. I think the other area, which I think is potentially sort of talked about less, is your kind of fire bit of the market, your financial independence guys. So, who would tend to be younger and not in some ways you wouldn't think of them as being sort of natural kind of seekers of financial advice, because, it's almost like this sense. And I think there's certainly a sense in the advice industry that these guys are kind of against the advice function, because they're just trying to strip out all the costs that they possibly can, and of products of advice and were a cost, and I think they want to get all of their advice on TikTok or Instagram or wherever, but I don't think that's true. And I'm sure enough that it's not true, that I think there's a market out there for clients who are in that mindset, who are thinking in those sorts of terms, but actually need and I think know that they need, although they might not sort of have articulated it to themselves in that way, an advisor of some description. It might look like a coach, it might look like a traditional IFA financial planner type, but I think there's an awful lot of connectivity between the way that your FIRE investors are looking to see things pan out, and what a good financial planner is able to bring to things. So that's an area of the market that I've just struggled to fit clients like that into a proposition at other places. And since we've been on our own, we've been speaking to guys like that a lot more through perhaps channels we wouldn't have before, like social media. And it's working well. We're taking on some really interesting clients who have who have that outlook on things, and it's a good fit. And I think the rest of the industry, or not all of it, but I think most of it is missing a trick there, because they're seeing this kind of movement as being an anti-advice movement, and I don't think it is. Yeah, I think it's just about trying to look for how you can help in slightly different ways and market yourself differently.
Absolutely. So don't look at them as almost like you hear the term the DIY brigade. Here come the DIY brigade. They're learning all their stuff from a YouTube video, or the Reddit groups that are kind of taking down Wall Street.
Love those guys.
What do you think of that?
It's interesting, isn't it? I mean, I just said earlier, I think it's very, it worries me a bit, actually. I think it's box office, isn't it? I mean, who wouldn't love a bunch of guys on Reddit, taking down some hedge fund guys? Okay, what I worry about is, I think there's this sort of, this slightly lazy view that young people aren't engaged with money, and they're not very interested in the world of investment, and they don't have the wealth to do anything if they were. I don't think any of those things are true. I think there's a lot of money cascading down the generations, and I think and it's happening already, and it's going to happen more. And I also think that a lot of these guys are actually potentially very interested in engaging with the world of finance, which is what we've seen, right? With all these Reddit investors and what's going on now, and before that, I know it's related, but all of this massive volume of trading in small accounts on Robinhood. And I think the thing about that is it sort of proves to me that there are guys there that want to get their money into the markets, and they're interested in how that can work for them. However, I think they're looking in the wrong places, and I think stuff like this GameStop stuff and Robinhood, it concerns me that you've got relatively inexperienced investors getting into the industry in this really kind of gamified way, where it's really super easy to take out these really complex positions in derivatives, using Robinhood. And actually, it's great that they're engaged, and it's great that they're having this sort of that level of interest generated. But I think a lot of people are going to get into positions that they're going to regret, and I think there'll be tears before bedtime, over all that stuff. And I think the danger there is it just puts a load of people off just engagement with the world of investing, full stop. You know, I think I would like to see happen more is guys like that speak to experts, right? You know, and I think that the challenge there is the experts being able to speak to them the right way, in a way that appeals as much as Robin Hood does, or, you know, what some guy on Reddit says, or some guy on Twitter. I think if you've got, you know, people in the advice sector speaking to that community in a way that makes sense to them the same way, I think there's some great clients out there, and some great work that can be done for those clients. But it's a challenge, you know, to communicate the right way, I think.